All right. Matt the Mortgage Guy. In today's video, I'm going to go over 5 popular mortgage myths. As you may or may not know, there's a bunch of myths about mortgage, a bunch of misinformation all over the place, whether that's online or talking to your relatives. I'm going to get into that today. Before I do, if you like straightforward mortgage content from a mortgage broker who does mortgage all day, every day, that's all me and my team do. So we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Anyhow, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. 3 times a week, I'm putting out videos that I hope help you out as a consumer, as a real estate agent, as somebody who's just following mortgage and real estate. I like to put out stuff that I think is going to be helpful. If I get a question more than a couple of times, I make a video on it. So that's that. I'll jump into it. And 5 mortgage myths. Number 1 has got to be down payment. There's still people that believe you got to put 20% down. If that's not you, then great, you've been educated. But if that is you, know that there are a ton of options. And it's not just down payment assistance. There are programs where you can do a conventional loan with 3% down, an FHA loan with 3.5% down. There's loans for veterans with nothing down. There's loans in rural areas, USDA loans with 0% down. All kinds of different options with far less than 20% down with great terms. If you don't know about them, look into them, but know that you do not need 20% down to buy a home. Okay, myth number 2, you need perfect credit to buy a home. That's far from the truth. If you needed perfect credit to buy a home, 85% of the people that bought a home would not be buying a home. And that might be an exaggeration, but I threw out a random number telling you that not many people have perfect credit, right? People have late payments. They've got medical collections. They've got stuff that's happened in the past and it still hasn't fallen off the credit report. So, they've got a 615 credit score or a 662. I'm telling you, don't let your credit get in the way of you at least exploring your options. You don't need perfect credit to buy a home. The FHA loan, which is kind of meant for first-time buyers, is really flexible when it comes to derogatory credit items. And you can have a credit score way down in the 500s and still qualify. If you get up to 580, the terms become a little bit better, a little bit easier to get approved. And then if you go above, let's call it 640, you have all kinds of options, but certainly don't need an 800 credit score. So I won't belabor that anymore. Just know that you do not need perfect credit to buy a house. Number 3, the bank is a great place to get a mortgage. And I understand why this is a myth, because for years and years, people have dealt with banks and they've done everything from their car loan to their credit cards to their investments accounts, all under one roof. And banks are great for certain things. But what I don't feel is the case, especially nowadays, is that the bank is the best place for a mortgage loan. And I'm not knocking the banks. I think this is pretty common knowledge in the mortgage industry. If you talk to brokers, if you talk to direct lenders, if you talk to just about anybody, they'll tell you that the banks, for one, don't necessarily want the business. And they structure underwriting, they structure their margins in a way where they say it without saying it. They're going to turn away more loans by having stricter guidelines. They are going to turn away loans by having higher prices and higher margins on most of their lending products that are conforming type loans. And so that tells you that while they may want your credit lines, while they may want your investment accounts and your credit card accounts and other things like that, I don't think banks really want your mortgage account. So go to a local broker and talk to them about getting a mortgage. It's going to be a lot better terms, cheaper, easier, faster for the most part. All right, so bank, another thing that I had a note on is that they're exempt from state and federal licensing a lot of the times. What that means is that whoever is the loan officer working at the bank helping with your loan doesn't even necessarily need a mortgage license. They submit your loan through the bank's license. May or may not mean that they're going to be less educated, less knowledgeable about helping you through the process. Not always the case, but sometimes. So anyhow, that's that. Number 4 on mortgage myths, applying for a loan is hard. And that's just not the case. I get so many folks that I talk to, they're referred by their real estate agent, they're referred by their CPA, they're referred by their financial advisor, their neighbor, their friend, their cousin told them, give Matt and his team a call, get yourself pre-approved. People are resistant because they think it's hard. One, it doesn't cost you anything. Two, it's really not that hard. It's an application where you fill out data that you know, right? Your personal information, you know, you got it. You're gonna ace that test. Employment information, where you work, where you've lived, these kind of things, it's not a hard test, right? You take 15 or 20 minutes to fill that out. You upload supporting docs, which are pay stubs, bank statements, ID, W-2s from the last 2 years, and that's it. You give it to a well-qualified team who can review it, and it's gonna give you good, honest feedback. You're approved for this number. Here's what a loan looks like at this number. You may not be ready. You might wanna work on your credit and save a little bit more down, and then put together a plan for 6 months out or 12 months out. But I can tell you, there's a lot harder things in life than applying for a mortgage. So don't let it be something that is scary or daunting, or let that get in the way that you think applying is hard. It's really not. Okay, last and not least, this is one that's coming up more and more often. Number 5 on the list of mortgage myths, lowest rate is the best option. And you may think to yourself, well, of course lowest rate is the best option, because if I've got a 2.5% 30-year fixed, that's gotta be better than a 2.75%, right? Wrong. I'm seeing this a lot lately, and it kind of worries me, because companies lead with a super low rate, and if the consumer doesn't know enough to be able to read into the fact that there is exorbitant amount of fees being baked in, they might just see the 2.5% and go, this is a good looking loan. They might even brag about it. They might feel good about that 2.5%. What happens is that 2.5% comes at a 2-point cost, and I'll explain what points are. $400,000 loan, 2 points equals 2%. So $8,000 in cost. If it's $8,000 in points, and there's a $1,500 underwriting fee, a $795 processing fee, some other junk fee, and all of a sudden you've got $10,000 worth of fees for that 2.5% rate, that is light years worse than 2.75 with a total of, let's call it $2,500 in all those fees between points, underwriting, processing, whatever it is, right? Do not, I repeat, do not get fixated on rate and ignore the other numbers, because those other numbers matter. It's a combination of rate and cost for that rate. You can't just look at rate and say good deal, or look at no cost, that matter, and say good deal, because no cost but 3.375 is also a bad deal. Moral of the story, don't just look at rate alone. Look at rate and cost for that rate together. So those are mortgage myths. I hope this was helpful. If you like this sort of content, straightforward mortgage advice, mortgage education, making you as a consumer more educated to make better decisions, please consider subscribing. Share this with friends, family, whoever you think might benefit from it. If you gained value and want a condensed version of Mortgage 101, things to know about refinance, how do points work, things like that, consider buying the course down in the description below. If you buy it and it's garbage, return it, full refund. If you like it, please let me know. Please let me know what you'd like to see me add, what you would like to add in 2022 for course members. I would love to get something scheduled to add some extra value to those who have supported the channel and even bought the course. So that's that. Thanks for watching. Until next time, we gonna see.